Right. And so then done a deal, you've got investors and they've been happy with that. Now the next deal comes along. What do you do to get someone who's invested with you before to invest again? Or how does that process work?
Having a process in place for raising capital is one thing, right? And I think of raising capital as more like finding investors. And then there's a whole other level of what I would call securing the capital, where you now have the investors are there, the capital is there, but you got to figure out figure out a way to be able to secure it from the investor into the actual property account so you can acquire the property. And that's that whole securing capital component that allows you to be able to have a system in place to cure that capital. So one of the things that we do is, like I said earlier, we send out this little, brochure, let's say little 72 page document that's nicely done, professionally printed, and that's sent out to the investors in a priority mail envelope. What we do first, though, is we send out the email. So we actually have another deal that we're releasing next week. So let me just tell you what we're going to do to release that one. That'll probably be the best thing.
Mhm.
So on Monday, we're going to be sending out an email to all of our investors and then introducing them to the deal and letting them know we have a new deal, right? New deal alert is going to come out. And it's going to have in that email all the different items that they're going to care about: market information, where it's located, what type of asset it is, what the business plan is, what do the investor level returns look like, what kind of classes of share are available, and then we're going to invite them to a webinar, which we typically do the next day or two after we release the email. So this one's going to be done next Tuesday night. We'll usually do them in the evening at 9 p.m. because it allows us to be able to reach the entire country a little bit easier and we also record it. So those people who can't come to it, we do record it, and then we'll send out the recording the next day. But we'll invite them to the webinar Tuesday night. But then Monday, this right here these are already printed up today. Not this is the Braxton Kerry Weston one, but the one for this other deal it's being released next week. Those are already printed up for that next deal, and they're actually at the printer, already ready to be dropped. They're going to be dropped on Monday next week. So because we're doing priority mail, within 3 days, all of our investors will receive that. On Tuesday, they'll start receiving it on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and so they'll start receiving that into their mailbox. On Tuesday night is when we invited them to the webinar. So Tuesday night, they're going to come to the webinar. And then on Wednesday, we're going to send out the recording. And all of the emails that we send out, the one on Monday and the one on the one on Wednesday, it's inside of there, there's going to be what's called a soft reserve link. And that soft reserve link is going to send them to a form. We usually use a Google form. It'll have them fill out information about how they want to invest, so we can actually set them properly up in our system. And then we will send them the PPM, the private placement memorandum, including the operating agreement, the subscription agreement, and the distribution details, all together in a DocuSign for them to be able to review, fill out the information, and sign off on it. The first page on that PPM document will actually be in some instructions with our wire instructions, so the investor knows where to send the funds. There'll also be a number on there for them to call to confirm the wire details. And then once we receive their funds, after they've sent them in, we'll usually send them about within the same day. We try to tell them about it, because when you're wiring 100,000 or whatever, sometimes it can be nerve wracking when you send out 100,000 and you don't hear for a couple of days as to whether somebody receives it. So the moment we receive it, our bank sends us an email notification, and my assistant Ann sends that investor an email, usually within a matter of minutes. So they let them know, hey, we have received your wire. You are confirmed in the deal. Here's what to expect. We're closing on this date. You'll receive another email when we actually close on the deal. And that money sits inside of that escrow account until we actually close the property. And of course, that money goes over into the seller whenever we're selling to be able to close the deal out, and then also into the operating account for the extra operating reserves, as well as for the additional closing costs and fees and things like that. And then that's it. So once the investor gets that closing email, in that closing email will also be another investor guide that will tell them about what to expect on the property. It talks about the monthly updates, the monthly distributions that we're doing, as well as those quarterly financials, and then the year-end K1 reporting as well.
All right, great. And so that webinar that you send out, like when you have a new property, you send that out to both people who have invested and haven't before?
Correct.
Everybody on your investor list. Okay. And then I guess then the ones that, have invested, they're probably even more likely to invest with you again, since if they've been happy with previous deals. But